Hi everyone, it's time for another week of Coach's Corner, Ponca City Public Schools, and we have two special guests this week. We're going to start with our girls softball coach, Coach Freeman, as the Ponca City girls softball team wrapped up a very good season. We'll also be talking Ponca football a little bit later on in this edition of our Coach's Corner. But we do start with Coach Freeman. The Ponca City girls softball team made it to the regional tournament where they were a number 2 seed, ended up finishing second in that region. And everything aside, Coach, now that you've reflected back, some thoughts on what was a 20-win season and a very successful season.
It was. We wrapped up last Thursday with the regional finals appearance there at Tulsa Union. All in all, pretty proud of the kids. They worked hard for us all year, so it was a good season. Definitely something we can build on.
You went into the season knowing you had such a young team, but they really developed. You said your goal was to not be a number 4 seed going to a regional this year. And as you played really well there in late September, you knew that was going to be a reality, and you ended up getting the number 2 seed at Union, which afforded you an opportunity to get to those regional finals, which your team did. Although you didn't get to the ultimate goal, you sure achieved a lot this year, didn't you?
We did. It's one of those things where, obviously early in the season, we didn't talk about it a whole lot with all the freshmen and the sophomores, and as young as we were, because like we talked to the kids, good teams are good no matter what grade they're in. So we weren't going to use that as an excuse, but we really had a lot of question marks. And as things started to come together and we kind of started to see the reality of the situation, every goal that we put forth, me and my staff, that we put in front of the kids there at the end of the year, they achieved it. We knew we were in a battle for the 4th spot in our district, which would give us a 2 seed. We got to that point. We had a 20-win goal. We got to 21, so we met that goal. And then once we got to regionals, our first goal was to make it to the finals and then find out what happens. And we made it to the regional finals, came up short against Tulsa Union, a pretty good ball club. But definitely, definitely achieved a lot of our goals this season. Now,
going into the regionals, you had kind of told me secretly you hoped Broken Arrow might be your destination. So when you got a high regional seed, but you got assigned to the Union Regional, you probably knew that you were going to be playing the best team on the east side of the state.
We did. I mean, it's Jenks, Owasso, and Union were all about the same. I mean, you knew it was going to have to take a perfect effort, and they were going to have, quite honestly, a bad game. We felt like we could have competed in that Broken Arrow regional and made it to the state tournament, but it didn't work out that way. And it was just one of those things where we were fighting for the best possible finish in our district, and that was our first goal. And then wherever that put us is where it put us. But we certainly don't have any regrets about the way that we battled and competed there at the end of the season.
Absolutely. That being said, you had to win some games at that regional just to get to the regional finals there, and everybody, those teams are all pretty equal, so you won some real good tight games there at that regional.
Well, kind of the irony of the situation is the 3 seed in our district was the number 10 team in the state. We were number 17, they were number 10. Sand Springs was 23-10 going into the regional, and we knocked them off twice. So I know we were the higher seed, but on paper and in the rankings, they were actually a little bit more highly regarded team than we were. We beat them 3-2 in the first game. Then we came up short 6-0 against Union in the second game, and then we came back and played an 11-inning game with Sand Springs. Our senior shortstop, Katie Edens, hit a solo home run in the first, and we only had 1 hit until the 11th, and then she hit a solo walk-off home run in the 11th. So that was definitely one of those kind of highlight games for us to get us into that regional finals, and it was a marathon. In fact, I was looking back at it today. We played 8 extra-inning games, so these kids know a thing or two about battling to the end, and the good news is we went 6-2 in those 8 games. So definitely something I think that will benefit us in the future.
21 wins and a young team, but you do have some seniors I know that meant a lot, and they've seen the good times and the bad times of this program. You'll miss those seniors.
We will. We had 4 great seniors. We had Katie Edens was our 3-hole, and our starting shortstop. She had a phenomenal year. Hit 400, 6 homers, had 35 RBIs, which is not bad considering we only played 39 games. Ashton Bright did a heck of a job at third base. She battled through both of them. Katie and Ashton both battled through injuries. Ashton in the last few weeks has really been battling a wrist problem and never complained and grinded her way through it and continued to play great defense. It hurt her offense, but she still gave everything she had. And then we had Stephanie Ralston and Jacqueline Fishburne, role players that stepped in, did a good job when they were asked to perform, and couldn't ask more. I mean, the chemistry of this team was, in my 10 years of coaching, by far the best team chemistry that I've ever had. We had a great time together, and a lot of that credit goes to those 4 seniors.
How close is your program, Coach, to taking that next step?
Well, you know, it's like we told the girls at the end of the year. It's up to us. I mean, yes, we improved by 10 wins. We made all sorts of improvements this year in the program. But if we just relax and say, you know, that's good enough, then we won't. But I think this team has a drive and a desire to keep improving. So I think we're close to turning the corner. Got a good group. You know, we started our last month of the season. 4 of our first 5 offensive players were freshmen. It's just a competitive group, and we've got enough pieces coming back the next 2-3 years that I really think we're going to be a program that people know is right there with the best of them.
Well, it's a fast 2 months, isn't it, Jared? That softball season, that goes by quick, doesn't it?
It goes. We played 39 games, and it was a blur. I mean, every kid at the end of the year couldn't believe the season was over, and that's just the way it is. We're playing 5-6 games a week.
Well, congratulations, 20 wins, 21 wins this year. Regional number 2 seed, and a very, very successful campaign. You got a banquet coming up here, Coach?
We do. We have a banquet on October 18th at 6:30 at the Votech. We'll honor those seniors. We'll give out those letter P's and to the girls that lettered. And I will certainly take the time to thank my staff. I've got a staff that I think is second to none. Coach Jeremy DeNoya, Coach Stoney Parks, and Coach Jonathan Waterloo. So often people just want to talk about the head coach, but I've got phenomenal assistants that do a phenomenal job. Pick the kids up sometimes when I'm letting them have it, and just with Coach Parks with the pitching and Coach DeNoy with the hitting. I'd really like to thank them too.
And what's interesting is Coach Freeman is also our boys baseball coach, and several of those guys work with you in baseball, so you have to have a really good trust with your assistant coaches.
I do. I put a lot on their plate. I mean, they definitely deserve a lot of credit. I might be the head coach and I might delegate things, but if I wasn't there, I know the practice would be going just as smooth as if I was there, because they know the system, they know the routine, and they really help me get it done. So in fact, we're going to start baseball practice tomorrow, and like you said, those guys will be out there with me, hooked up, giving up a lot of time for these kids. So definitely appreciate it.
Very good. Jared Freeman, our girls softball coach, our boys baseball coach, on this week's edition of Coach's Corner.